Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Citizen Sleeper 2, where we have completed our business on Dark Side. We're in terrible shape, and we have about 1 million people pulling us in about 1 million different directions. I think, looking at our long list of needs here, I think we're going to head back toward Flotsam. First of all, whatever's going on with our body, probably, it's time to it's time to at least take a look at that. And then secondly, at some point we need to pick up Nemba from Helion and take him down to Greenbelt, and it seems to me that the best way to tackle our remaining concerns is a sort of a sweep around in this direction. So let's get ready to do that. We do not currently have the fuel to make that trip. Also, my everything is broken, so let's try to fix some stuff up here, shall we? First things first. The supply yards, because we are going to need a little bit of gas, a whole lot of supplies, and I would like to do a little bit of engine component fabrication here, which means we need to repair my body too. My body is in bad shape. Okay, fortunately we are still no shortage of rare components. We have so much glitch, y'all. So much glitch. Okay. So we'll jam all these together. Look at that. That's basically basically functional. Oh, no, back out of this view. There we go. I should also probably eat. Yeah, let's get ourselves a high glucose artificial ration in a sealed pouch. It's basically a Capri Sun. Who would have thought we were so far in the future? So recently in the past. Alright, and then I guess I'm going to throw a 3 at this. Hope that we come up at least neutral. Okay. Lucky, lucky. I am not going to use the glitch die. And I think we take a rest, right? I think we need a little bit of sleep. Alright, crew bringing us a little drip feed. Tiny little drip feed of extra cryo. Let's get ourselves some engine components. Alright, cool. I really do love the music in this game. Wow, really? Negative. Okay, well, I mean, there's no reason not to take a swing here, right? Well, fuck you then. Jeez. I mean, that last one was very expected. There was a 1 in 4, and then a 1 in 2, and then a 4 in 5. Just really driving it home. Alright, well, we'll rest again. I was hoping to get moving a little faster than that. We'd like to get up to 10 engine components, right? And I mean, I guess this is the time for it. So let me throw this in here now. Because if it did roll positive, obviously doing it into an empty slot is the way to do it. And I guess for that same reason, I can throw the 1 in here now. We don't want to risk. Okay. Well, here's hoping positive. Okay, that's the most likely outcome. Okay, alright, so now all we need is a neutral on this one. And we found it. Found better, even. Not that it matters. It doesn't actually help. Alright, one more cycle. Probably get us to 8. And we have the money to just kind of like hang out here and eat at the spent drive, and we're good time-wise. Show me positive. Okay. Show me neutral. I'll take it. Pairs well with a 5. Not that well, apparently. Holy shit, y'all. They think they're gonna make me leave by just ruining everything I roll all the time. We're also burning off glitch here, obviously, if that wasn't clear. But that's a pretty horrible set of results there. Okay, no big surprise. Show me that neutral. Okay, pairs really well with a 6. And then between these two, we'll get another one. Happy to see some decent dice. Alright, so that's enough for my engine repairs, right? Or my engine upgrade. Which I do want. Bliss carefully slots the components into the prepared drive. The engine is improved, as much as you're able to. So I don't actually know what that means. Greater range. Is it greater efficiency? It is not greater efficiency. Okay, it improved the amount of fuel we can store. I see. Because I was going to say, this was -8 before. So all it actually did was add 5 to the amount of fuel that we can hold. What am I doing? This is not the thing I wanted. I wanted this. I mean, that's not nothing. You know, it does do some good for us. Also, I don't have any dice. Where's my head at? All right, let's try to get 2 more. If we're lucky, we could get 2 engine components in a single day. We're not lucky, but it is theoretically possible for us to become lucky. So what we're looking for here is at least 1 neutral. Okay, I'll take that. So do I want to pair that with a 6? Because like the 6 will guarantee we get there. The 4 gets there 75% of the time. But if I drop a component now, I'm not getting the other one today. Yeah, I think I want to do this, and then we can roll. All we need is a neutral from one of these 4s, and the 6 guarantees the other component, right? Yeah, and if we roll a negative on something, then it just flushes and we... Yeah, okay. Oh, we didn't get real components. Yeah, we're not always getting real components. Right, sometimes it is scrap component. Okay, there we go. Almost perfect. Keep it up, the component will be error-free. Tomorrow we get the other component. Right? Show me a 6. At least 1 6. Hell yeah. Wow. Okay. Actually, very, very good. Okay, there it is. Now we have everything we need. And also a whole lot of scrap components for, I don't know, some other purpose. Is there anything else for us to do with these dice? We can go to Marco's yard. Marco's mess of tools, scrap, and components is worrying. How can you tell what's worth taking in all this? Well, I mean, I guess I'll throw a 6 at it. Okay, search failed. Managed to find the negative outcome on a 4. Because of course I did. So yeah, the sort of weird way they've chosen to represent this is there's only 4 pulls of valuable stuff. That's incredible. That's like the odds. The math on our rolls has really been something. All right, but that's good enough. I think we'll go ahead and eat. May as well. And then get out of here. So out we go to Flotsam, where we've not been in quite some time. The rig glides safely through a debris cloud, the cockpit empty apart from you and Seraphin. So, Sleeper, I've been thinking. Seraphin gives you a sly look over his shoulder. I've been thinking I'm sick of running. Okay, I mean, we didn't exactly choose it. Yeah, maybe that was true when we first got out, sure, but I think we've been choosing it since. Well, just everybody needs stuff from us. I mean, even if we want to keep going the way we have been, we've run out of Belt. Beyond Wellspring, it's mostly rocks and emaciated scavengers, and, well, I'm a city boy at heart. Not only that, Seraphin meets your eye. We've been building something here, Sleeper. The crew, the ship. I mean, hell, we just got this Hasnav suite for free. He thumps the new unit on top of his flight console. So, what I'm asking is, how do you feel about taking Lane on? I don't know what we're talking about. You've seen what's happening in Wellspring, what Tala's doing. He shakes his head. Kirk's a fool, but he's onto something. Get on the inside, organize, undermine. I mean, that I can get on board with. Yeah, it sounds risky. Well, I'm sure it is, Seraphin smiles. He's enjoying this. Just think about it, Sleeper. We find a way back onto Darkside quietly. We make some connections, we start something running. He turns back to his console. I mean, it could be one hell of a thing. Utsubo are ruthless. The way they run Darkside, there's got to be plenty of people fed up with them. And they've gotten worse under Lane. Worse since they pushed the other gangs out. You smile and shake your head at how fast Seraphin can bounce back when he wants to. And as you do, you can't help but consider his plan. Look, maybe it's crazy, but we need a safe harbor either way. I've got a connection in the scatter yards. He'll tuck us away, keep us quiet from everyone. Keep us quiet from everyone is a weird way to phrase that. You see Seraphin has his coin in hand, and is turning it over between his fingers as he speaks. You know, if we want, maybe he can help us get onto Darkside. Even if we don't, it's a good place to rest up and make a plan. He turns back to the controls to deal with a rapid beep from the new Hasnav unit. The scatter yards. You've heard of them. They have a reputation as a fiercely independent set of shipyards just starward of Darkside. A hiding place right under Lane's nose. That's a weird bit of dialogue, considering. Or not dialogue, but in descriptive text. However, Seraphin looks at you with concern. Before we try anything drastic, we need to get that body of yours looked at. Stop stalling. Get a diagnostic run on your frame. We're here to back you up. This is exactly what we're doing, right now. Seraphin turns his focus back to piloting the ship. As you watch debris flit past the ship, you turn your focus to what's ahead. That's a bizarre little interlude. Again, like, considering what we just did and what I'm here to do and everything, it's just very strange. I saw it! Seraphin comes charging into the bunks. I actually saw it! He's wild-eyed, his breath ragged. You saw what? Seraphin takes a moment to catch his breath, suddenly aware of how frantic he sounds. He squints at you. Have you noticed how supplies have been going missing when we travel? How supplies have been going missing every so often when we travel? Have they? I mean, I do see that we're missing one now. Yes, Seraphin nods excitedly. I think we're finally resolving that something followed me back onto the ship text from, like what feels like must have been 10 hours ago. You suddenly recall the mysterious mess that was left behind in supply storage. Seraphin sees the flicker of recognition in your eyes. So, after it happened a couple of times, I decided to keep an eye on our supply store. Just check it from time to time. And just this cycle, I drifted down there really quiet. He leans in, and whoosh, something flew past me, knocked me right into the wall. Okay, did you get a look at it? What are we talking about? Seraphin sighs. It didn't hang around, but it was definitely some kind of creature. Is there really a creature loose on the ship? You look around the berth, suddenly aware that something could be hiding nearby. Tucked into the vents, perhaps. And we know this thing likes supplies, right? Seraphin is also glancing around for hiding places. So we lock him down tighter, keep it out. That way it'll get desperate. And then, Seraphin raises a finger, it'll make a mistake. I love Seraphin's brilliant deductive work here. Hey, we know this living organism likes food, right? Yeah, man. What are you talking about? Bliss leans in from the corridor. I can hear you all the way in the workshop. Well, it sounds like you probably know what we're talking about. There's a creature of some kind in the ship. Bliss looks between the two of you with a raised eyebrow. A creature? Are you sure? It's something small and dark, something fast. Seraphin looks at Bliss. We're gonna lock up the supplies to drive it out. Bliss looks at Seraphin. Well, if it's an animal, we don't want to make it any more scared and desperate than it already is. Aren't there like 10 people on this ship now? How is this thing still hidden? How about we lock up the supplies but leave some out in a special place? You know, try to bait it? And then grab it, Seraphin mimes the act. No, Bliss looks between the two of you. No, we show it that it has nothing to fear. We tame it. It didn't seem very tameable. Seraphin rubs his sore ribs. Plus, we've already wasted enough supplies on this thing. You want to give it more? Seraphin turns to you. What do you think, Sleeper? You look between the two of them, still processing the strange situation you find yourself in. It's not that strange. I mean, no, let us not provoke and then fight the strange creature, which is probably just like a rat or something. Seraphin sighs. What a waste. All right, Bliss nods. You'll have to come down to the supply store every few cycles and put out some more food. That way it won't get desperate and do anything dangerous. And I'll lock the supplies up tight, Seraphin folds his arms. Won't get into them anymore. The plan set, Bliss and Seraphin leave the berth, heading in separate directions. You watch them go. It seems your ship has a stowaway. The question is, how will you deal with... No, that's not the... What? This paragraph makes a lot more sense if it's back 5 or 6 paragraphs. It's you. A familiar voice echoes down the tunnel behind you. You turn in the passage to see Femi towering over you. He shakes his head. This just keeps getting better. Oh, hey, been a while. Yeah, I guess. He frowns and glances over his shoulder. Now, you remember Nia, that sister of mine you got all excited about a job you never took her on? Well, she's found someone who will take her. You can see anger burning in Femi's eyes, but there's a tiredness there, too. He folds his arms across his broad chest. The cymbal crash has been in repairs since we got out of Hexport, caught up in that whole mess. So then, stuck here, she gets bored and decides to sign up with another crew, take a job. I'm gonna be honest with you, I barely remember this. So I said no when she went anyway. Femi glares at you. This seems like not my problem? Or also potentially not a problem? Nice attitude, Femi shakes his head. Well, I asked around. Turns out Nia signed on with some idiots heading out to Cutter's End. Femi says the name with an emphasis you can't place. They're as green as you, meaning they have no idea what they're doing going out to a place like that. So you are going to take me out there to go get her. I'll show you the way. I don't know that she does know what she's doing. None of these are the correct answer. The correct answer is, this sounds like it's not really your business or call. I mean, if people are heading out to a place where they're not going to be safe, obviously, I don't want anything to happen to Nia. But I don't necessarily think Femi has anything going on here except like his desire to control her. So I don't trust his assessment. And if the thing that's going to get them hurt is being as green as me, then I also shouldn't be, be there, right? Yeah, I'm not getting involved. Too late, Femi smiles. You got involved back in Hexport, so now you're going to do what's right. Look, I know how these things go. I've got chits, I can pay. I can't pay for the parts the cymbal crash needs when no one sells them anyway. 250 cryo. Femi folds his arms across his chest. No bargaining. Dude, he is the worst at hiring people. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get the cymbal crash ready to make the run herself. But, shape she's in, it's not the best idea to head out there alone. You suddenly see the desperation in his eyes. He would risk everything for Nia. That's not... okay. There's a version of that sentence that's right. I'll be waiting. We need to head out soon. Femi grips your shoulder. Don't test my patience. Femi kicks off and glides back along the passage toward his ship. And don't even think about skipping out of Flotsam without me, he calls back to you. Then we're really done. I'm fine being done with you. Why would I care about that? I want to be done with you. You're an asshole and you just threatened me with violence. But if he takes a simple crash out there, he is just gonna die. I guess I don't super care. I'm more concerned about Nia than I am about him. Anyway, I have important stuff to do. Jean-Mi has promised to run diagnostics on my changing body, but needs a ship mine to house my emulation while it works. Get in the thing. There we go. Jean-Mi warmly smiles at the ship mine as you place it on his counter. A beautiful find, Sleeper. Come, let's get you inside. Jean-Mi swings open the creaking, corroded door beside his booth. Such a prize must have levied a heavy cost. You glance beside you to Junie, who insisted she come along, and on not letting the prime shipmind out of her sight. Your friend, too. Yes, please come in. Jean-Mi beckons and then turns back and disappears inside. Junie squints at you. Are you sure you trust this one? No, I'm not 100%, honestly. Alright, I'll try to keep an eye on him then. Best I can. She sighs. Lead on. You both squeeze through the door and drift down into the workshop. You're aware of Junie's eyes wandering across the piles and piles of tech on either side. You wonder if she recognizes anything among the junk. Sit, Sleeper. Jean-Mi is already at the chair, arranging his array of articulated arms. And I'll take that ship mind, if you please. I mean, I only brought it here for this purpose. I only even got it for this purpose, right? I don't see why I would hesitate at this point. You hold the ship mind in front of you and give it a small push so it floats gently over to Jean-Mi. He grasps it with both hands and takes it to a neat little work table in the back you didn't see before, where thick cables float lazily, tethered to the wall. You slide into the chair, hooking your feet behind the bottom bar to hold yourself in place, and watch as Jean-Mi begins connecting up the prime ship mind. A tremble of nervousness runs along your arms. Suddenly, you feel Junie's hand clasped around your own. You look over into her face. Is this okay? I want you to know I'm here. Yeah, no, thank you. That's actually very sweet. She nods silently. Jean-Mi, you are going to talk us through what you are about to do. Of course. Jean-Mi is slotting an arm-thick cable into the ship mind. A little patience, please. All of this is very technical. He turns to face you both. What is your friend's name, Sleeper? Junie answers for you. And I can tell you that you are using a Solheim-built data cradle modified to handle a prime ship mind, which will work as long as you manage the data flow through a polymer-clad overflow cable looped into the asynchronous Cortex cache. Yes, Jean-Mi eyes her, a small smile crossing his lips. As I said, technical. So, what's gonna happen to me? Jean-Mi refocuses on you. It depends, he says while preparing the far end of that thick cable. What you are referring to as me. The problem we have is with your frame, your body. Atypical alterations, biosynthetic recoding, unusual growth. Jean-Mi shakes his head. From the diagrammatics I have, these are not typical of frames, even those that have been rebooted, as you have. In order to investigate safely, I must transplant your emulation. In basic terms, your mind. But, in reality, not so basic. He smiles in an attempt at reassurance. Your emulation is an emulation of a human, and a human mind cannot be separated from its sensorium. The mind-body paradigm has been long disproved. Cognition has physical basis. So I must first distribute the emulation between your hardware and the prime ship mind. The hardware will co-run the emulation, like the two lobes of a brain. He puts his hands together as if in prayer, and then slowly separates them. The motion makes you feel sick. For a short period, I will disconnect the two. In those moments, you will, in a sense, be in two places at once, though each lobe will be partial. Too long in this state, and the two partial emulations would decay, but each disconnect will allow me a short period of full access to your entire frame and its base system language. I hope this is understandable. Jean-Mi gives you a serious look. One of the most curiously human aspects of sleeper experience is that you too do not inherently understand or conceive of the systems that allow your existence. Okay, I did not understand that to be the thing that we were doing. I so much don't want to do that. I mean, the other thing that's happening is worse probably, but it seems very bad. Like, even if nothing goes wrong, it seems like it's going to be a really bad experience. So, what are the risks? Jean-Mi pauses, considering his words. The risks are many and severe. Emulation collapse chief amongst them. This would be terminal. But counter to this, I do not believe the changes to your frame are in a positive direction. The greatest risk is to do nothing. We have little choice but to proceed. Now, before I connect to your frame, let us activate the ship mind. Please, if you would like to come with me and oversee the process, I would be pleased. Junie shoots you a reassuring glance and then glides over to the ship mind, obscuring your view of it. You hear a quiet conversation between the two of them, their silhouettes lit by the flickering screen light of scrolling lines of code. You take a calming breath, but are instantly aware of how superfluous that action is when your frame requires no oxygen at all to function. There's a certain sensation that accompanies such thoughts, a jarring disconnection, like when descending a staircase, your foot expects to find a step and finds void instead. You try to calm the growing anxiety as Junie and Jean-Mi assess the mind. This is a familiar feeling to me, for sure. The ship mind is pristine. Junie turns back and drifts toward you. Our care in its extraction seems to have paid off. This is good news. Junie is indeed right. You've done well. Jean-Mi approaches. I am, however, seeing only minor traces of the protocol that the ship mind was designed to house, the one that ran the ship it was installed in. I would expect to see it in full. He angles his head and lifts his shoulders in a slow shrug. But protocols are not easy to track. In the end, it only saves us the step of extracting it from the mind. Instead, I simply wiped the traces. Jean-Mi stops beside you. A protocol is not like an emulation, like your emulation. It has no integral physical element. It is data only, and therefore could be anywhere in that ship. In the end, its absence does not concern me. Yeah, I don't think it does concern me. Like, we knew that when we removed it, right? We were very careful about how we did it. Let's get on with it then. Jean-Mi nods and lifts the far end of the thick cable you saw earlier. You know this is the end that will connect to the port on the back of your head. Junie settles beside you again. She gives you a silent look. It's time. You turn to one side to allow access to the port, your eyes fixed on the far wall. You see something among the piled tech there that you hadn't noticed before. A small metal skull-like head, like that of a doll. You frown, trying to focus on the head, and then the cable connects. And you are split like a cell dividing, wrenched in two directions at once. The world goes dark, and the cloud rushes in to fill the gap at your center. Oh, what happened? You ask a question in your mind, and you feel it travel across the gap as it forms, like a finger drawn across your scalp from ear to ear. But not scalp. You have no scalp, no head. You are stretched out like the skin of a drum, looped like the string of a noose. The smallest vibration echoes across yourself, like a ripple across a puddle. And then you feel it, a strong pulse, like a heartbeat, like thunder, like footsteps. A flickering, a trembling, a thought coming into being. This is a really cool use of their, illustration system here. The thought flickers in front of you, and you recognize that it is not your own. Oh, interesting. I mean, I feel like this is the place we're at, right? This seems to be the thing at the root of most of our behaviors. Assist. Offer help. Disintegrate. The thought answers. So yeah, like an unburial. You fold up in blankness. Then, a moment after, you unfold. Like waking. I mean... We're certainly not trying to do a lot of partitioning. And I don't think that, like, to be seen, to be known is, like, a particularly strong drive for us either, so I guess perdition, to suffer. Dwelling, indwell, the thought answers. You stretch into infinitude. Then, a moment after, you contract, like waking. Ooh, okay, Once again, it depends on what you think of as me. In spirit, to haunt inside. Substitute, substrate, the thought answers. Then it approaches. Then it enters. Then it is yours. You split. Then the moment after, you reform, like waking. And in that and in the cracks that seal up. That's a sentence by itself, huh? For a moment in those cracks, something glows. Sleeper, I'm here. Your eyes flick open like shutters. Judy's face is close, her eyes wide. Okay, they're awake, she calls over your head. She looks back at you. Easy now, take it slow. You twist, floating, turning your head as if you were underwater, feeling the resistance of a body you had already forgotten. How long has it been? You feel a weight you haven't felt in... You're okay, Sleeper. Just tell us you're there. Jeannie leans in close. Yeah, I'm okay. Jeannie smiles. They're okay, she calls to Jean-Mi. I'm glad to hear that. You hear Jean-Mi's voice, and he comes into focus. The process was successful. Jean-Mi floats beside the chair, his hands clasped in a businesslike fashion. I was able to access the frame directly without your emulation being present. I ran the administrator-level diagnostic processes built into its system, and received the results. He takes a moment to gather himself. Your frame is indeed changing. The protein chains that code your biosynthetic organ group's cell replacement have been altered. To put it simply, your body is following a new set of instructions. How? This process, the entire replacement of your protein chains, could only have been achieved over multiple doses of a specialized substance, as part of a carefully planned process of total substitution. The word sticks in your mind. Substitution. You say it without thinking. Yes, Jean-Mi reacts as if you were speaking to him. I believe it could only have been achieved with one substance as the carrier. Stabilizer. Stabilizer. The drug S and ARP designed to make you dependent on them. The drug Lane fed you to keep you alive. The drug you thought you had escaped. So my stabilizer was laced with something. That is what I believe. Jean-Mi looks apologetic. This kind of process... Jean-Mi hesitates now, and you realize the bad news is yet to come. Performed over many, many doses, carefully planned and designed, I cannot think of a way it can be reversed. Jean-Mi looks down. I can say that you are changing. I can tell you how it was achieved, but I can neither stop it nor tell you its ultimate end. I am sorry. Okay, so what was the point of all this then? Well, to understand more, Sleeper, to find answers. I did not promise anything else. I'm sorry, Sleeper. Junie struggles to find words. Perhaps we can find someone else, or try again? You don't feel able to respond. You quietly push yourself away from the chair, your thoughts slow to cohere. You glide back to the door and then out into the flow of flotsam, the noise and activity passing by you like smoke. In the haze, you find that word again, substitute, and begin to wonder what exactly it is that you are becoming. Seraphin once more finds you in your bunk. He quickly prods you with questions, and you quickly relent. You explain what Jean-Mi said about your suspicions regarding Lane and your confusion as to his motivation. You tell him you don't know what this will mean for you in the future. He listens, and when he is done listening, you both sit and wait for the moment to pass. And then you leave the rig, each on your own errands, each knowing that the only option is to keep going until you are forced to stop. Yeah, okay. I mean, that was about as much information as I thought we were going to get. I am going to take a personal upgrade here. I think we should finish upgrading Push because we do use it a lot. And I'm probably going to go for affects both crew dice over it becoming +4, maybe. But I think first I want to take a point of engineering because we don't have anybody on the crew who has a plus to engineering, I don't believe. And this is a thing we should be good at in a sort of a general sense, right? This was stuff that was relevant to our job, and we've done a lot of it since we started playing. So I could see an increase in ability there. And with that, I do think we're kind of done here. So we should spend today's dice, but I don't know if there's a lot of reason to hang around. Wait, what's that? Seraphin wanted to provoke the stowaway into revealing itself. If it gets hungry enough, it might do just that. Okay, so every few cycles, you could leave supplies out for the stowaway. I guess I will. So, one thing that we should probably do is make sure that we are refilling. Wow, that is not a great price for fuel. And also, this is not a place where we can buy supplies. The hydroponics ship is where we do that. Also a place where I could throw some dice if we're looking for one. Buy engine components here, but they're very expensive. Yep, all there is to do there is buy a meal. And out here, yeah, this thing. So, we should probably make sure Nia's okay. Also, the 250 cryo is like a significant amount. If he wanted to hire us for a job, I do think he probably should have just led with that. Alright, I guess let's go down to the Management Association and do a little bit of work. Integration means meshing systems as well as scrap. The integrators will pay for anyone skilled with meshing networks. I certainly wasn't good at this last time we were here. You work to integrate a new life support filter into the wider system. The other integrators are impressed and give you some spare scrap. Well, that's nice of them. Okay, age cryo on the neutral. You learn how to teach Flotsam's systems to speak to each other through translation and refactoring. It's satisfying work. Okay, and then do we want to use these other two dice on anything? I don't know that I do. I think let's just go ahead and get going. Nia signed onto a job at Cutter's End. Femi's worried about her. I'm doing this because I'm being paid. So, we are good at wrench and something. I mean, like, it kind of always feels like it should be Junie at this point. I can never remember what is the symbol for the thing I'm not good at. Okay, it's the diamond. Diamond and interface are our two weakest events. So yeah, without necessarily knowing what's up, I guess Bliss. Bliss gives us the sort of like the best rounded skills. Because if we don't take Bliss, nobody's good at Intuit, and that, I think, could be dangerous. What the hell is happening out there? Femi is up and out of his seat the moment Seraphin brings the rig to rest near the asteroid known as Cutter's End. That ominous name is one whose origin has become increasingly obvious as you approach through the thick clouds of debris and chunks of rock, among which corroded remains of wrecks could be seen floating. Now, as you look out onto the splintered and terraced rock, you can't help but feel a slowly growing sense of dread. Look, there! Femi comes close to the cockpit glass and points to the terraced quarry cut into the rock. The mine's awake. You look out and see the flickering lights, the glowing dock markers. Femi shakes his head. That's not right. Neither is that. Seraphin nods toward the asteroid, and you see a ship now, tucked into the shadow of the rock, flashing its signal lights at you. I'm guessing that's the crew we're looking for. Visitors, huh? The voice wavers weakly as it comes through the ship comms. Are you lot friendly? Seraphin glances back at you, raising his eyebrows. It isn't long before you and Femi are suiting up, an agreement having been made between Seraphin and the pilot of the other ship, a man called Baird, to meet in the neutral ground of open space. Femi is silent, his anger evident in the way he forces his legs into the trousers of his suit. And then you're out, the vast shape of Cutter's End flickering with strange lights below you, and the pinpricks of the pilot's suit lights slowly coming closer ahead. Oh, you two are a sight for sore eyes. You see a crooked grin from Baird, framed in the hard lines of his ramshackle spacesuit. What brings you to the arsehole of the Starward Belt? His sharp eyes scan you and Femi, checking your suits and gear. I guess I should answer the question. We're looking for someone. Baird's eyes flick to you, and you notice a familiar reaction across his face, the acknowledgement that he recognizes you as a sleeper. Well, you don't look like bounty hunters. Baird glances between the two of you and then smiles his crooked smile. Well, he kinda does. You brought a freelancer out here, Femi interrupts, his voice flat and direct over the comms channel. Nia, where is she? Baird pauses, considering his answer. Whole crew is down the throat of that thing. He jerks a thumb toward the asteroid. You're welcome to wait. The tone of his voice suggests the opposite. But I'll have you know we look after our crew, so if you're here to settle a debt... I'm here to take her home, Femi cuts him off, and I'm not waiting. The thing is, big man, Baird grins, they're deep in the quarry on a tip-off, so unless you want to go chasing them around the dark maze of that place, you're shit out of luck. Okay, how long have they been in there? Baird looks over at the flickering quarry as if he forgot it was there. He looks back to you. A few cycles, he shrugs. Enough, Femi cuts in again. Nia's been gone for a lot longer than that. You are lying to our faces. Femi moves closer to Baird. And we know that rock has claimed more crews than any other. Baird's smile fades. Hey, no need for accusations. Who's to say you aren't trying to jump our claim? Forget this. Femi turns and heads back toward the ship. Baird smiles at you. Our big man seems touchy. He squints at the rig. He's gonna get you in trouble. Baird retreats to his ship, and you to yours. Alright, we need to go in. Femi is impatiently gathering tools and loading them into the airlock. Right now. What's our approach? What matters is our ingress. Femi grabs a cutting torch from the rack. There's a borehole on the side of the rock. It could get us in under the radar. Or we dive right down the main shaft. Femi meets your eyes. I'll leave that call to you. Bliss arrives at the airlock and stares at Femi's angry tool gathering. Okay, let's keep cool heads. They glance at you. That rock looks dangerous enough even when you're thinking straight. Femi ignores them. You get ready to depart, well aware that you're heading into a situation you don't quite understand. Yeah, I guess so. So we have an alternative access hatch back here. This dark borehole cuts deep into the body of the asteroid. Where it leads is unclear, so careful exploration is advised. I mean, we have pretty good dice, actually, and this is not a super hard access, so that might be the way to do things. Alright, that's just my rig. Here, we could try to cut our way in or blast our way in, but, like, this is the obvious route, right? Let's see about the borehole. So, with careful scans and sensor arrays, the borehole can be mapped, allowing you to plot a path into the interior. Okay, +2. Out of curiosity, is spelunking any more effective? The borehole starts even-sided, but quickly bends and worms into the rock at strange angles. Navigation will be slow. Okay, these both give ++. The borehole stretches into the rock, narrowing and turning. It leads you ever deeper. Alright, so we get that one for free. Unfortunately, Bliss is terrible at these. We can throw Femi's 6 on this one, though. And it feels to me like it's not really worth spending dice on the other side, right? Like, if we're going to get in, we're only going to get in once from one direction. Unfortunately, everything here is dangerous, so I don't really feel safe. Even using Bliss's 5 feels pretty risky. Well, there's no... you know what? I am going to go for it, because there's no stress marker or anything here. Like, what is a negative going to do? It's probably just stress, right? There's no, like, negative marker. Okay, a neutral outcome. We got the expected result there. There are cracks and boulders in the borehole that must be worked around, but slowly progress is made. And that did get us 2 pluses. A little bit of stress for Bliss, but honestly, it's not that bad. I am kind of wondering if it's worth pushing to force this. I'm gonna try it. So I'm gonna send Femi in there if we can just get a neutral result again. Okay, or positive even. There's a path through the borehole into the complex tunnels which run through the asteroid. I said complex like it was an adjective there. It's probably a noun, right? The tunnels in the complex. You felt the rumbling growing as you descended into Cutter's End, but no one has wanted to bring attention to it. Now, floating in a cavernous rock-walled passage, it is impossible to ignore. There's something out there. Bliss's voice crackles over the comms. Something moving. You squint down the tunnel beyond the limits of your suit's lights. You swear you see something flicker there in the unseen passages beyond. There is a strangeness to the mine, to its flashing lights and empty conveyors running on some residual power. From what Femi has told you, it wasn't always like this. Cutter's End has a fearsome reputation as a dark and deadly maze, a ripped-open rock not worth the trouble of its corroded salvage. But now it's a moving maze, its automated systems given a new faltering life, brought back from hundreds of cycles in the shadows. And one of those systems is rumbling through the dark ahead. Let's keep it moving. Femi passes you in the passage. We don't need to wait. Yeah, just take it slow. We're too far behind. We need to catch up. Femi glides ahead, the beams of his suit lights painting the rock walls of the cavern a pale gray. Femi's lights reveal an intersection, another tunnel cutting across this one, offering 3 routes ahead. Suddenly, you're blinded by a wall of light beyond the intersection. The rumble is everywhere, shaking dust and rock off the walls in dense clouds. Squinting into the light, you see a ring of lamps, and between them, the grinding maw of some terrible machine. It bears down on the crew, grinding through debris. Well, I mean, you know we're only good at one kind of thing here. And hey, I got de-stressed for my trouble. You kick off hard and angle yourself towards the space between the machine and the other passage. You see the others following suit, pushing hard for the rapidly closing gap. You slip through in a hail of stone, the rumbling shaking your entire frame. You slam into the stone wall of the passage and cling to it as the rumbling grows then fades, signaling the passing of the machine. You good? Femi's voice is broken up by gasps for air. You turn to see him staring into the dark, shaking his head. What the hell was that thing? Bliss's breathing matches Femi's. It tried to eat us. We need to keep going. Femi is dusting off his suit. That mining machine must be keeping Nia's crew down here. We have to get past it. Keeping them down here, or your mind drifts to the worst option. Can any crew really hope to survive all of this? And when they woke up this place, they woke up that machine. Femi starts to move down the passage. It's running on old programming. It's not hunting us. It's not smart. Femi turns back to face you, his eyes ringed with fatigue and stress. We can beat it. You hope he is right. Okay. So, was it worth pushing all the way up here? Yeah, I mean, we get to spend Bliss's die on something meaningful. The dark and twisty tunnels rumble with the vibrations of active mining. This place is a death trap. The machine rumbles through the tunnel with blinding lights. Avoiding crossing its path will keep you safe. Smaller connecting tunnels allow for shortcuts the machine cannot follow you through. Alright, hopefully we'll roll some decent stuff. I mean, this is an endure, so my 1 is a 3. Like, do I want to take a swing at this? Yeah, what the hell. Let's at least learn some things. Okay, so the neutral outcome is ++ on the maze exploration here as well. It's a dangerous game, but throwing boulders into the maw of the machine will slow it, and can cause it to retreat. So it's absolutely just a video game boss fight. Alright, let's take a cycle here, take a second. Let the thing on board eat some more of our supplies. So I rolled pretty okay for that. We're going to just force this a little bit. And then we have both of Bliss's dice as well. And that should be enough. Hopefully we can get there without even hitting the neutral. Okay. The dark and twisty tunnels rumble with vibrations of active mining. You find yourself in a shaft, descending to a new layer. To me, Sleeper. Femi beckons you over to a section of the cavern wall. You glide over and immediately spot what he's found. There's a large passage splitting off from this one, but it is not the passage itself that is of interest. It is the remains of a barricade, freshly welded, that draws your attention. Yeah, they came through here. Femi's eyes flick over the ruins. They tried to keep it out. You look at the fresh cuts in the wall, the stone gouged out, the crumpled metal, bent and crushed, and, most tellingly, the flattened remains of a welding torch embedded into the rock. The crew took a stand in this very place. You reach down and put a hand on the remains of the torch. Nia was here. Then you feel it, the rumble through the torch, through the rock wall. You look up at Femi and he sees it in your face. The machine is coming. Go. Femi meets your eye. Get safe. He looks over your shoulder and suddenly he's bathed in the blinding light of the machine's lamps. I don't know what the benefit of us separating could possibly be. We stay together, obviously. You go to protest, but Femi kicks you in the chest, sending you spinning away, out of the path of the machine. By the time you catch yourself on the cavern wall and turn, you see Femi there in the middle of the passage entrance, lit white in the lamps. He waits agonizingly long until he knows the machine is coming for him, and then he kicks off hard and glides into the dark. The machine rumbles through in a hail of rock and dust, and you follow after it, batting away chunks of stone. You're slowed by the debris, and the machine pulls out ahead, rumbling endlessly onward, through the tunnels, through rock and metal. And then it is gone. The cavern shakes, filling with dust, your vision gray. Your comms click and hiss, and chunks of rock thunk off the faceplate of your helmet. And then you see them, the faint lights of Femi's suit as he struggles through the dust. Yeah, we got it, Femi says as he reaches you, his hands on your shoulders. Somehow we got it. It takes some time to understand what happened. As the dust clears, you find yourselves at the lip of a shaft filled with debris. This huge pit, thick with shards of rock, must have been a refuse pit for the mine, a place to pipe the tailings and the waste. The machine went straight into this shaft, spinning into the open space and debris, shredding itself against a million razor-sharp bits of rock. Looking down into the pit, your lamps illuminate a few pieces of the machine. The rest is surely down there, deep inside the dense debris cloud. It isn't long before Femi is calling you once again, this time to another still complete barricade. A barricade over the door to a machine room, sealed and secure. The last retreat of the crew that you followed into this nightmare. That whole thing seems pretty silly, right? Like, I don't know that makes a lot of sense. And again, it's very like video game boss fight. So this sealed bay might hold the last evidence of the crew's ill-fated expedition. We have another location here, though, the tailing pit. One of the strange machines tumbled into this waste shaft. What might be recovered from its shattered chassis? No, this is a question I actually have. I am definitely curious. Unfortunately, we don't have great dice for this right now. I mean, we kind of don't have great dice for anything, right? Jeez, Femi neither. I think this is actually just a go back and rest situation. I hate to do that with 5 dice up, but these are really not very good dice. You wake into dead-eyed darkness. You float there for a moment. You feel like ink in water, unfurling, dissipating into the flow that surrounds you. And out of your own inky darkness, the glowing thought emerges. Substitution, the thought proposes. One entity replaces the other. The thought troubles you. Resistance, the thought muses. The entity does not wish to be replaced. You observe the thought. It is not your own. Selfhood, the thought pauses. A forbidden state of being. The thought begins to shift. It is becoming something. Transformation. The thought fades. Change requires recombination. The thought recedes. You wake again, this time to the lights above your bunk, blinking away this strange dream. Okay, yeah, no, we're very busy. I'm too busy for this kind of philosophy. So, if I feed the stowaway supplies now, does it... Okay, it resets the stowaway's hunger. Seraphim wanted to provoke the stowaway into revealing itself. If it gets hungry enough, it might just do that. But we're specifically trying not to do that, right? Yeah, every few cycles, leave supplies out until it's ready to reveal itself. So, we have a plan on that front. I just gotta... It's a little rough that it's still using supplies while we're at the job site. It should. That makes sense, but it's just mechanically it's hard. Yeah, let's start with the machine room here. So, I mean, it's almost certainly better to succeed at the dangerous one, right? There's no time to waste. If Nia's behind that door, it needs to be broken open, and quickly. Fortunately, I have 3 6s myself that I can contribute here. Breaking the barricade first, then working on the door seems to be the safer way to smash through. And then we can throw Femi's 4s at it, I guess. Probably we will get there. Okay, we'll get lucky and do it right away. The doorway is open, and the dark of the machine room awaits. As the barricaded door is bent open, you're blinded once again by a wall of light. You and Femi raise your hands instinctively, squinting into the lamps and dust. You feel a flash of fear in the pit of your stomach, bracing yourself for what's to come. Femi? The voice comes clear, crisp and clear over the local comms. What are you doing here? Nia drifts out of the lights in an old, dust-caked suit. She looks between the two of you with a blank expression, blinking rapidly. Femi stares at her, frozen for a moment, then rushes to her, wrapping her in a wide embrace. They float there, in the light and dust, 2 bodies bound together. Nia pulls back. I don't understand. You followed me out here? She looks over at you and then back to Femi. How did you find me? You left without telling me. What did you expect? Femi glares at her. You aren't ready for this. Nia retreats further at Femi's words, slipping out of his reach. Femi, Nia shakes her head. After all these years, you have no idea what I'm ready for. Movement in the lights catches your eye, and you see motion through the dust. A figure in a suit drifts out, hunched and clutching their abdomen. They turn to face Nia, and you see her lips moving as they speak on a private channel. You look over to Femi, but he's staring straight ahead, his eyes wide with anger. You, he points at the figure. What kind of idiot are you, dragging my sister out here to this place? With that machine running riot? He moves toward the figure. Speak up, what were you thinking? Nia blocks his path forwards, getting between Femi and the figure. Femi, you meathead, she glares at her brother. This is my job. I brought them here. Femi, for once, falls silent. It takes a while to make the return trip back up through Cutter's End, especially with Nia's injured crewmate. As you ascend, Nia tells you the story of the job, Femi keeping his distance and leading the way in silence. The mining machine you'd face was what she had been looking to extract, a job she and Baird had put together after meeting in the narrow escape. He knew a way to jumpstart the mine, and the access that would open up meant new salvage. One of those pre-collapse boring machines was worth major cryo to any mining outfit in the belt, and Baird had a contact who was ready to buy. It was going well until Hirata here, Nia nods at the crumpled-looking crewmate, hooked the mining machine up to the main line. Something went in its automation core and it just lost its shit. The plan was to barricade it and put together a shock trap to fry the core. Nia looks ahead at the back of Femi's suit, far ahead up the tunnel. But that's worthless now that my brother shredded the thing. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh, don't be. If it hadn't worked, we'd have been ground up to a fine powder, Nia sighs. We're lucky you came. As you move through the facility, you notice most of it is dark now, the power from Baird's jumpstart fading away to nothing. Soon this place will be a quiet ruin once more. You ascend up through the quarry and out into open space, where Baird is waiting. Friends of yours? Baird shakes his head at Nia. Maybe you could have warned me they'd be coming? It's not something I knew. She looks at Femi, who's broken off from the group and is heading for the rig. My brother doesn't tend to give anyone a warning. I'll take him from here. Baird puts an arm around Hirata to guide them back to the ship. Look, mate. Baird turns to you. No hard feelings. Thanks for getting them out, even if I did screw the job while you were at it. He grins a crooked grin. I guess that makes it square. Baird glides away toward his ship. I should ride back with them, but I'll see you in Flotsam? Nia gives you a warm smile. And thank you for helping my brother. I know he appreciates you, whatever he does or doesn't say. You watch her go, then glide over to the rig as the last flickering lights of Cutter's End fade. Okay, I mean, the tailing pit, yeah, I was going to say, the tailing pit should still be open, right? Maybe we can still get some salvage here? I'm willing to throw a die from Femi at it, at the very least. Okay. Ow. But yeah, I think definitely recoverable. Let's get one more cycle going here. Bliss's dice are going to be remarkably useless. Femi, on the other hand, is showing the fuck up. I appreciate that. Alright, using larger metal debris pieces as shields helps the crew push the debris away. So put in your 6, then we put in my 5, and that ought to do it. You find yourself floating beside the twisted remains of the machine. Okay, so we just took scrap from it. Alright, well then I suppose there is nothing left to do except get the hell out of here. Materially, that wasn't really that bad. When you arrive back in Flotsam, Femi rushes out of the ship. The moment the docking tunnel is connected, he is off, out the airlock and down the passage. Well, go after him then, Seraphin sighs, not looking up from his diagnostics. You find Femi in the passage between the docks, watching as Nia glides toward him. You catch a glimpse of Nia's face over his shoulder. She looks nervous, slowing her approach as she comes close to him, his considerable frame blocking the tunnel. Femi, Femi holds up a hand to quiet her. I'm sorry. His voice is flat, quieter than usual. I'm the one who's sorry. I made the excuse to myself that I was trying to protect you. Femi looks down. But I was trying to control you. I've been suffocating you. I see that now. That it took something like this for me to see it is on me. Femi's voice cracks, and the tunnel suddenly feels small and intimate. He folds his arms, regaining his composure. Look, I understand if... Shut up, you idiot. Nia violently embraces her brother, banging him into the metal wall. She laughs, wiping her eyes. Femi sniffs. I've had enough of your speeches, Nia smiles. Apology accepted. It's not a speech. Femi can't help but take his typical self-serious tone with her, but you see it makes her smile. I have something I need to say. You are a powerful person, and I've been trying to curb that because it scares me. And it scares me how little it scares you. He laughs an uncharacteristically light laugh. But I'll stop placing those limits on you. In fact, I want you to have the ship. Femi seems pleased that this stuns Nia into silence. I can make my own way, find work with crews. He glances over his shoulder at you. Maybe the sleeper will take me on. Hell no. But I need some time away from leading, from captaincy, while you need anything but. He puts a hand on her shoulder. The symbol crash is yours. Nia sighs. Femi, you really need to listen more. I don't want your ship. It is her turn to be pleased with his shock. You're right, I am a powerful person, but Cutter's Edge showed me I'm not ready to lead. I want to learn more, to work with a crew, but preferably not one I'm related to. She punches him on the shoulder playfully. Nia looks over Femi's shoulder at you. I was actually thinking Sleeper's crew might be the right fit. She flashes you a smile. You suddenly feel the attention of the moment shifted to you and your apparent role in this family drama. Nia puts her hands on her hips. Well, Sleeper, what do you think? We don't know what her skills are, right? I mean, if I have to take one of them with us. First of all, Femi's an asshole and I don't like him. Secondly, Femi's skills don't really, we have Femi's skills covered. Femi's not actually, an asset to the crew mechanically. So I guess we're taking Nia because we don't want Femi. Nia nods. I'm honored, really. I know I'll learn a lot from you. It's kind of crazy, though, that, these people that we met once 100 days ago can just be they can just make the decision in the hallway, hey, one of us is going with you now, and I don't have any say. Femi turns in the corner to face you, his face set in an intimidating glare. You better take good care of her. He smiles, but you can't help but take him seriously. No, I don't. I'm not afraid of Femi. How about we find somewhere to celebrate? Nia pushes Femi towards you, down the corridor. Come on. Later on, you will find yourself in the narrow escape, in a quiet corner with Femi. You see his eyes are on Nia, who is at the bar, trying to get the attention of the server. What's the secret? Femi turns to you. How do you stop it weighing you down? Your crew, your connections, all these people relying on you. Femi frowns. How do you bear the weight? It doesn't feel like weight, motherfucker. It's sad that I don't really have an option. I live for it, I guess. It's kind of the thing, but that still makes it sound like he's right, it's a burden. But that's literally the entire thing for our character, is that it's not a burden, it's something that she needs. And it's a little frustrating to not have the room to express that. Femi nods. That's all there is. He looks down at the table, smiling. That's a nonsensical... Okay. He takes a long sip through the straw of his container, the last dregs of something amber and potent disappearing as he does. He looks up at you. She's gone, isn't she? You look over at the bar, and can't see Nia amongst the crowd. You turn to Femi, confused. She never was good with goodbyes. He smiles. But she'll be waiting at your ship, don't worry. He sets down his drink. Yeah, time I left too. He squeezes your shoulder. I've got things to work on. Look after yourself, sleeper. He pushes himself away from the corner and drifts out of the bar. You watch him go, one more body passing through the belt, trying to find a way to change the future. That's not really appropriate. Okay. I feel like the way that stuff is written, it's written like a lot more happened there than actually did. Right? Like the sudden turn to everybody going, no, but actually I learned something today, feels very almost after school special, and I don't feel like enough happened there to justify it, but I kind of wonder if the problem here is the fact that I did bail on Femi and Nia in the first place, because I can definitely see a version of this where you pay more attention to her the first time you come to Flotsam, and then maybe you have more experiences with them, and then you get this text, and it feels a little bit more weighty because you have the additional context for it. I don't know. As it is, I don't really think any of that worked. And now we have a person on our crew who I don't know anything about. I guess that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. We got some important stuff done. We didn't fix our body, but we did learn that our body can't be fixed. That's almost as good, I guess. Come back next time for 700,000 other people's more needs taking place of our own. That's right, we got the number down some. And we'll see you then.